Okay, the French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763. Now you need to watch the following video and take notes over it. And as you're taking notes, make sure you're prepared to take the online assessment after you completed the Albany Plan of Union assignment and completed the before and after map for the French and Indian War. So let's get started here. Conflict between England and France had been going on for hundreds of years, and it spills over into the Americas. As you can tell, the French are going to take everything, in the interior of what is now the United States, and the English will gain everything else. The Spanish are over here. They're minor players at this point, but they will play a more significant role later on. But eventually, England and France are going to fight over this land. It was bound to happen. Most people agree to it anyway. And it's really all about this area right here in the Ohio River Valley. It's very fertile land. It's good for farming. There's good fur trapping, and the fur business was very lucrative in England and in Europe, I should say. And so the conflict is really going to start over that area. Virginia is going to send out a young George Washington to tell the French to get out. And as you can tell, the French had built these forts all along this area here. And so the idea was that Washington would march his soldiers out and tell them to leave, and then the French would leave. Along the way, he and his party come into conflict with a scouting party for the French. The leader of the French is killed, and the war really is begun because of Washington's actions here. He's going to build a small fort and get defeated eventually, and have to go back to Virginia. Now, around this time, the British and the French declare war on each other, and the first major expedition for the British is Edward Braddock. He and his soldiers with Washington marched to what was called Fort Duquesne. Today we call it Pittsburgh. His army is ambushed and massacred. He is killed himself. Washington comes in and takes over and helps organize his soldiers, as many as he can, into an organized retreat to get them back to Virginia. The idea being to save as many supplies and men to find a later date. And that's the fighting that takes place further south. The rest of it pretty much is in what is now New York. Okay, most of the fighting for the French and Indian War is done in New York and Canada. Not a whole lot in the 13 colonies themselves. Major battles anyway. Now, one of the problems that the English run into at first is their way of fighting. Now, if you'll notice down here on the bottom, the British like to fight the old European style of shoulder to shoulder. Two armies march out at each other, and they fire. Guns were very inaccurate, so this was the best way to mass all your weapons and hopefully hit something. But it was really the preferred style, and you notice this big open field fighting. Well, the American Indians don't fight like that. As you can tell in these pictures above, it's in the trees, it's very kind of one-on-one, and the British don't adapt very well at that. And they struggle fighting the American Indians because of this. Okay, because of this. Among other reasons, but that's kind of one of the key points. Now, like I said, most of the fighting takes place in this area right here, okay? But the key is going to be the Battle of Quebec, where the British sneak up in the middle of the night, basically, and show up. And the thing about this is whenever the English are able to fight the French in this style down here, they're able to win. And they're able to fight like this at the Battle of Quebec, and they're able to defeat the French in 1760. Okay? And that pretty much ends the war in America. Now, this is a global war. It's being fought in Europe. It's being fought in parts of South America and India. But the American portion is pretty much over in 1760. Okay? Because of this, in 1763, you get the Treaty of Paris. The war is officially over. Okay? And there's a couple things that we need to know about the results. All right? One, the French lose all their land in North America. As you can tell, everything west of the Mississippi is British, and everything west of the Mississippi is Spanish. Everything east of the Mississippi River is English. The French are gone completely. They lose everything in this war. England grows. England expands their empire. That kind of goes with number one, but it's not just in North America. Three, England's debt doubles. To win the war, they must spend a lot of money. And England goes from spending 75 million pounds to 133 million pounds. All right? And so they are in debt badly. After they're badly in debt, they need to pay that off. That's going to lead into the next thing. And the last part is, and this is the colonies are a little more unified, not completely. They're more unified. They had organized and worked well with each other to fight the American Indians. And because of this, they are a little bit more familiar with each other. Before the war, the colonies treated each other like they were other countries. They didn't work well together. Because of this war, they're now a little bit more unified. That the leaders of the colonies know each other. They've written letters. They've maybe talked to each other in person. But you get the sense that they're no longer completely different from each other. They're just a little bit more together. Now, they're not willing to give up their power, and they still see each other as not completely, but very different. But the thing you need to know is they are much more unified at the end of this war. And really, the big things we want to remember here are 1, 3, and 4. Okay? Those are really important details to remember. Now, if you have any questions after watching the video, let me know. And move on to the next assignment, which is the Albany Plan of Union assignment, or the map assignment.